Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we will create a simple card with a beautiful focal point, a sparkle embossed background and a heartwarming sentiment. I will be using a variety of distress inks for today's card. This card can be used for any occasion. You could add any sentiment or greeting of your choice. Before we get started, please hit the subscribe button and click on the notification bell icon so that you don't miss any of my videos. Let's begin with the die that I will be using as a main focal point for our card. I decided to go with a floral design for this card. You could use any pattern or any dies of your choice. I'm using a scrap piece of white cardstock for my die cut. Before I cut the die, I will ink up the white cardstock using distress inks. Again, you could use any ink of your choice. I like to color up the background before cutting out the image. Make sure the ink covers the entire die cut. You could keep it simple by using a single color for your die cut or use a combination of colors to create a colorful pattern. I like to blend in the inks a couple of times to get a crisp and darker background. Once the ink blending is done, I position the die onto the cardstock, making sure all the edges of the die have color. Then I run it through my die cutting machine. Here I am taking another piece of white cardstock and I will cut out the same die cut 3 times. This will give my focal point some dimension. For smaller die cuts, I prefer stacking multiple layers of the same die cut rather than using foam tapes for an even lift. I used liquid glue to stack all the layers together. I notice some gaps between the layers. To flatten it out, I will keep the layered die cut inside a book or under something heavy until the glue dries and the layers are evenly stuck to each other. We have some time until the layered die cuts dries and flattens. Until then, let's work on our background. I'm using the leaves from this Gather Happy Moments stamp set for my background. I used Versamark ink to stamp the leaves. As always, don't forget to use the anti-static powder tool before stamping with Versamark ink or any other pigment ink for heat embossing. Pour a generous amount of sparkle embossing powder over the stamped images. Make sure that the heat gun is nice and hot before you run it over onto the cardstock to melt the embossing powder. Now that the background and the focal point is ready, let's assemble our card. I am using liquid glue to fix our focal point, which is the die cut piece, onto the embossed background. Sparkle time! I'm using the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Fine Glitter Brush Pen to add shine to our focal point. Lots and lots of shine. Once the focal point is all set, let's add our sentiment strip. This card can be used for any occasion. Any sentiment or greeting would work just fine. I'm using a sentiment from the same Gather Happy Moments stamp set that I used for my embossed background. I added foam tape just on the sides of the sentiment strip since our die cut is raised. Once I position the strip, I use glitter brush pen to add shine onto the strip. I made a bunch of sentiment strips in my previous video. This is one of that. I will put a link to that video in the description box below. Let's assemble the front panel onto a pre-folded A2 size white cardstock. I used double-sided tape to adhere the card panel onto the pre-folded card base. Once I'm done with the card, it's time to work on the envelope. I'm using the same white cardstock and the exact same embossed leaves that I used for the card background for my envelope. Here's a look at the finished card. Hope you had fun watching today's video and got inspired. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and share it with your family and friends. Your love means a lot to me and my channel. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again for joining me today. Hope you have a wonderful day and see you in my next video.